National Innovation Strategy. The nation station Oman FM with the cooperation of the Research Council presents Innovation Roadmap, an introduction to National Innovation Strategy from the Research Council.
Hello and welcome to Innovation Roadmap, brought to you by the Research Council and Radio Sultanate of Oman. I'm Lakshmi Kartanet with Ahmed Al-Arami. Let's meet our guest, Mr. Hassan Fida Lawati, Director General of Digital Society Development at Information Technology Authority, ITA. And you can guess, yes, we're talking about the knowledge-based society. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
What would you say are the ingredients of a knowledge-based society?
Well, the main ingredients of the knowledge-based society are innovation, e-lifestyle, and entrepreneurship.
Okay.
These are the main areas that I can think of when we talk about this topic.
Excellent. So where are we when it comes to e-government?
Okay, the e-government is part of the, it's supporting the e-lifestyle. The e-government is more into the transactioning with different entities of the government, okay, and converting the paperwork and, whether if it is with the end users or customers or internally in these organizations, so converting all that traditional way of doing things manually by utilizing the technology in a way that can save you your time and effort.
And when it comes to e-lifestyle, are we all there?
Yeah. E-lifestyle, now this e-government might come under the umbrella of e-lifestyle. E-lifestyle is more like we engage the technology in everything we do in our life. So for example, even if I am working or I'm a professional on something which is not letting me to interact much in, computers and technology, but now with this new, era of technology and with the coming of fourth industrial revolution, technology is getting in everywhere in our lives and in every industry. So for example, if I am a handicraft or I'm a fisherman, now there are ways that there are technology programs and apps and tools that can make my life easy, that can help me to do my work in a better way and enhance my productivity.
So how ready is the Sultanate for the fourth industrial revolution in terms of digital readiness?
It's started. And it's going on. And if I talk about such a kind of a thing, which is a revolution, mainly I can think of four main steps. It starts with the awareness, and it goes by training as well. And the deployment comes somewhere then, as a stage. And then the innovation goes on. I believe that now we already had the awareness matter, and it's going on. And the training is also happening. Deployment has started a bit. And we are in that stage, but at the very beginning stage of deployment. And I know that there are some SMEs started to get established in areas like 3D printing, maybe something like blockchain, and that's the way it goes. So there we are.
It's started here?
Yeah, somehow, yes. But they are in a very initial steps. And their outcomes morely, I can say, proof of concepts more than, end products. So research basis has started. Now, as we are doing research and we're trying to make things and we test them how it happens and how it could happen and create potential, we are in that stage. But we are not in a stage where we can say we have end products that we can sell and that we can, train people on.
Interesting. And what would you say are some of the success stories for reaching the e-government goals?
We have, as you can see, when you're transactioning with the government sector nowadays, and especially those that are providing service to the citizens, if you compare that with, let's say, 10 years back, you can see a different way of dealing with such entities. For example, if you have any transactions related to Royal Oman Police, for example. Now, there are many things that you can do online, and you can save a lot of time and effort. Coming to a simple example of renewing the car, license or registration. Now, easily you can do it at home, okay, once you are ended up with your insurance matter. And even the insurance matter became that, and with some entities that you can do it online as well, okay, and you just need to take out some of the snaps of your car and you send them and fill up a form online, and then they just register your car as insured. Okay. And then that you continue that step with the Royal Oman Police and you do the second step. and you can do it and it's get done, and then just you have to go and you just get your Mulkiya card or the registration card, and that's it. Earlier back, you need to go and sit for an hour in the or maybe let's say half an hour in the insurance company, and then once you finish, then you have to drive, or maybe the next day you have to go to the Royal Oman Police, and there you have to stand in long queues, and maybe then you can get your turn, and then you have to finish it. And maybe like somehow, if you want to finish up all this process in one day, maybe half of your day get over. So now it's became differently. So this is one of the examples. You have some other examples related to the commercial registration with the Invest Easy program, for example, that is connected also now some other entities like Ministry of Manpower. So many of those kind of transactions became, digital. So that somehow started to make some people's life easy. Of course, there are cases that people complain about if they're having some exceptions. So if the transaction is a bit abnormal, then you need to go and do it by your own. But I believe those ministries are still they're not enough with what's going on. They still keep improving their services. And I think the citizenship engagement, citizens' engagements and their feedback started to make a difference. So these entities now, they're not anymore giving you whatever they like and you take it, but they're also in a way now getting the feedback from the citizen, and they keep changing their way of doing things to improve it. And that's how the technology works.
And that shows how the e-lifestyle is catching on.
Exactly.
Would you say, for example, 10 years ago, ITA was actually having centers around Oman?
Yeah, you mean the community knowledge centers, yeah.
Centers. The training centers. Today, though, it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So does that mean that project has been successful, and is that how you close it? And can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, in fact, as you said, we started this project 10 years back, and operationally started in 2008 somehow, and there were around 19 community knowledge centers, and they were scattered throughout the country.
Yeah.
And during that time, of course, there was a high need of digital literacy. There were housewives who used to sit at home, but they had to teach their kids when they come back from schools. And nowadays, schools they became challenging the families. They're giving them homeworks that they need to search on the net and so on. And somehow some, housewives, they didn't know how to interact with technology and how to teach that to their kids. So these centers started to target such kind of segments. Not just only housewives. Housewives could be some people who are working on fields they don't use much the technology, like truck drivers, for example, taxi drivers, could be fishermen, could be even students sitting at home, but their knowledge is a bit, outdated or something like. So these knowledge centers came out to fill that gap. And it went really successful, and we trained over 30,000 people, ladies and gents, and it made a difference to many of them. And we have some success stories, like some ladies started to use some kind of applications to, market their products. Somehow they try to, make things on the net, to enhance their, products and services that they are trying to offer. Some people started to use the technology in a way that enhanced their productivity. For example, some agriculture people, they started to use some technological tools to understand more about their the field that they're working on and enhance their productivity as well. So these centers started around 10 years back, and it went well. And then we came up to a stage where we felt like it's enough, and especially after year 2011, when the smartphones became more common and internet packages with the mobile phones became, affordable. So people started to use it, and they felt like it's becoming to make their lives easy. So they started to demand things which are higher than that. They started to teach themselves a couple of basic things that we used to teach them. And they started to use YouTube and whatever. So some basic things, for example, like how to connect your PC at home with the modem. Now these kind of things, people can still see it in the YouTube, for example, and some other kind of websites where it can teach you.
Get inspired.
Exactly.
Yes. So
So as you see, the demand level of, people, or the segments that you're targeting became higher than the used to be, So up to a level, up to the year 2014, we felt like it's enough, and we need to convert that to something else. So those community knowledge centers, some of them been closed, and around 8 to 9 of those centers, we converted them to training centers in a private sector mode. So some Omanis who we trained earlier, they have taken those on, they took these, the ownership of these centers. And they converted that to training institutes, and mainly they are focusing more on technology kind of courses. So that's how we guaranteed the sustainability of some of those centers, which are located in very critical areas, and they are going on well. And sometimes even if we need any kind of training like that in such places, then we outsource that business to them. So somehow the sustainability gets enhanced for these people.
And it actually empowered others.
Exactly. And that program itself with ITA and the team we choose to work on that, it's been converted to something else. We focus more on the e-Lafi style, where we just pick up a specific kind of segments. For example, if we just take the handicraft people who are working with the handicrafts, the housewives, somehow we just pick up a segment in a region, for example, and we coordinate with the related authorities that work on that regard, and we train them somewhere. Okay, somehow, how you can market your, for example, your handicraft products to the public. So maybe you can use Instagram, you can use Twitter and whatever. So maybe there might be an example, for example, a course for 1 week or 2 weeks, just teaching them what is Instagram and how you can utilize it and how you can post your handicraft pictures there and how you can market that towards the public or your target segments.
We'll take a short break, and you are listening to Innovation Roadmap, coming to you from Radio Sultanate of Oman with the Research Council.
Let's place innovation at the heart of the strategic plans of our institutions. You are listening to the National Innovation Strategy.
You're listening to Innovation Roadmap, and our guest here today is Hassan Fida Lawati, Director General of Digital Society Development at Information Technology Authority. We've been talking about how the society is actually getting involved more and more. But would you say some of the challenges exist, and one of them could be e-payment, for example, to have e-commerce in a full-fledged way?
It's started to happen in Oman, in fact, and I believe that just the e-government being, improving. Even the e-services in general, when we talk about the, private sector and the e-commerce itself, it started to get improved. Now there are some challenges, yes, of course. Starting from the customers' point of view, or the users, or the people who are interacting with that, towards making their transactions with the government sector or private sector. Some people still, they don't have that trust if I pay online. And they are afraid to use their credit card. But I think the growth is because we just watch the growth. The growth is improving sharply, and some people now started to just, because when they see the life is being easy, if I do my transaction by my own, just it's a matter of risking my credit card and use it. They know some precautions, and I think now the banks and some other related entities, they're trying to make more awareness about the security issues and how people might misuse you. And there are even some broadcast advertisements and awareness pitches in the radios and TVs, as we can see. So somehow people started to understand that, and they started to utilize that. But still there's a challenge that some people say they don't trust or they get scared. But once they know about the awareness itself, it goes well. On the other side, the entities, many entities, they improved the way they provide the service, but sometimes there are some entities that their interfacing website or the page where you do the transaction, sometimes it's not that friendly use. But I think many organizations are, as I said earlier, improving themselves when they hear about any feedback coming from the end users or the customers, and they keep doing it. But unfortunately, there are still some organizations that are still not yet been providing their services fully on the net. So sometimes still you have to go to them physically, and you to finish up some transactions. For example, some banks, you can finish up a couple of things throughout the call center or throughout their mobile app. But if there are things or some services that can still happen through digitally, but still they ask you to go to the branch. So, but I think this will gonna get improved.
Great.
By the time.
And our company and organization or in private sector entities in touch with ITA, for example, to develop their strategy?
Well, yes. I mean, somehow they are stakeholders, and whether if they become like the vendors that the service is getting bought from, or even somehow they have to interact and integrate with the overall systematic of the digital society. So, for example, as I stated earlier, like when you see the ROP and the insurance companies, okay,
Right.
when the ROP started to, automate and digitalize their transactions, okay, somehow, especially for the car registration or renewing, these insurance companies, they started to provide somehow a service, and they improved their service. Okay, so it can integrate with the customer. Okay,
Yes.
so he can do the transaction fully in 2 steps, but the whole thing become digitally.
Okay. Fabulous. Now, the push towards e-government has been a public sector initiative, and the community, you've given us an insight, and now the private sector. But in the horizon is the society and the individuals. What are the steps taken to empower them in addition to what has been done? I understand the grassroots level and the 10 years and everything. But as we stand today, like you said, there are the concerns of people in terms of security.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of cases that are going on, whether it's social media, WhatsApp, or emails. So there is a lot in stake.
Of course, yeah, you're right. Well, the steps has been taken to empower them by ITA, I would say, and even by some other government entities. Like awareness programs are going everywhere, and even banks, for example, they are trying to do some awareness about how to use the credit card in a proper way. You should not give your account number and some card details to anyone just calling you like that. So this is happening, for example. Some people also trying to advise you, some authorities, not to just get to any website or don't download applications from anywhere unless if you know the source, okay? And you have to read the terms and conditions whenever you're trying to, download any new application. So this is going on in general. But when it comes to ITA specifically, I can name some of the programs that we are doing that can empower them towards that. So, for example, we believe that in ICT sector generally, we need Omanis as a resources who are specialized in specific areas. And one of them is the security. So we have a program called Specialized IT Training, okay, where we just pick up, it's a different segment, totally different from the one which I talked about, for the community knowledge centers.
Yes.
This one is targeting mostly the people who are already working in IT field, and in IT field in a way that they need to specialize. So there might be graduates, there might be people who have some experience in that, and we try to pick up those people, whether they are from the government or private sector, and we enhance their capabilities in a way so we let them to get into courses that are let them to get certified in specific areas. Could be security, could be networking, could be programming, whatever. And we try to scan the demand in general, what's going on, for example, from now to the coming 5 years, and we just make our plans for this program and we focus on these areas. So that's how the training goes in a way. And this is to feed their organizations where they are working, whether if it is like their own organizations, it could be a government sector or private sector company. And somehow we're trying to enhance that capability from one side. On the other side, as we said, some e-lifestyle programs are going on, some courses are going on, so somehow you're trying to engage the citizen towards the technology, and and they can utilize that technology to enhance their productivity and whatever. And also we have a couple of programs like incubation program, okay? The SAS incubation or SAS entrepreneurship center, which is a center that's incubating the IT startups and geeks. And there we are trying to, convert their technology ideas or technology-based ideas to commercial idea, so it can become a business itself. So it's a program of 3 years, and somehow we are trying to make more SMEs coming and getting inside the ICT sector. And these SMEs, we are trying to just enhance them and enhance their capabilities, so they lead somehow a portion of the economy of the country.
Interesting. So would you think very soon, just like any organization has a department on HR and most importantly HSE, health, safety, environment, IT security would be an integral part, whether they are an IT company or any other entity?
Of course, as I said at the beginning, that IT now is getting into everything. So there is no industry now that can get away itself from IT. And as I said, even some simple kind of professions still the technology can interfere and make it more easier and better and save time and money. And of course, why the revolution of the fourth industrial revolution, which is there and it's coming anyway, and the feature of that kind of a revolution, it doesn't wait for you. It's going very fast, okay, and then you have to cope up with that speed. So as you said, and each company or each organization should have a division or a department. As we can see now, almost every entity, it has the IT unit, even fixing it for themselves or whatever. But that IT unit is there. But the responsibility of those units will keep increasing and increasing with the use of technology and with the fourth industrial revolution, because many people are going to start using the technology. Okay,
and we're going to be in that spectrum.
Exactly. And then many other things are going to happen to affect the technology. Some hacking will going to increase. Okay,
this is what I was...
cyber attacks will going to get increased. So people will, even the individuals, they have to know how to protect themselves. Okay, and now if maybe we have some knowledge up to an extent or a level, that knowledge should keep improving and improving by the time, because same as for example, for the first time, when you started to use the WhatsApp and whatever, you started to teach yourself with some features that nobody have told you about.
Yes.
The technology will gonna go towards that direction. You're gonna start to teach yourself many things that now you're getting it through training courses, and that's how it's gonna work. So yes, to answer your question, all the organizations, whether the government or private, should have some units related to IT, how to implement it internally or externally, and how to protect the entity itself from cyber attacks and so on.
Very interesting. And now comes the innovation.
Yeah.
We've gone through the society, the e-government and the e-lifestyle, and it is all to encourage innovation, which is the biggest thing for Oman right now.
Yes.
Innovation in every sense. Where does ITA come in?
Well, I would say I'm going to go back to the 4 steps that I have mentioned when I was talking about the fourth industrial revolution. But those steps might apply to some similar kind of things. So when it comes to innovation, maybe we can say, there is an awareness that has to be there about innovation and what is the purpose and how it can be. The training matter on that side, and the deployment, and the innovation comes later.
Okay.
So in terms of innovation,
training and deployment are going together? Or separate?
It's somehow separate, because training, I'll let you know how to do it.
Yes.
But when it comes to deployment, you are implementing it on the field.
Yes.
And once it gets implemented, then the innovation comes to take it to next steps. So, we are already there in terms of the generally when we speak about IT matter, it's deployed. And now we are I would say, initial steps of innovation.
Is ITA, of course, SAS is one of them where innovation, you're encouraging innovation.
In fact, if I talk about SAS, we have mainly 3 SAS centers. Okay? I just mentioned about one, which is the incubation, related to the incubation program, where we just incubate IT startups. It's a program for 3 years. And of course, innovation is one of the main elements, to be part of that program. We are doing some sessions, we are trying to, give them some sort of focus trainings, how to innovate in whatever they're doing. And the main focus here is how we can have Omani IPs. Okay.
Yes.
And that
intellectual property.
Exactly. Okay. So we need to see Omani products in terms of the IPs, and also we are trying to somehow let the society we're trying to convert the society from being technology consumers only to become technology producer.
Right.
Yeah.
We are good receivers, consumers, aren't we?
Exactly. But what about if we are trying to convert the society in a way that they can also produce in IT, and somehow we enhance the position of the country, so it can also sell some IT services. It can supply some programmers in a specific area. Okay. And especially when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution, I see that the best way is to handle it. We need to focus on a national level, where we want to be. In fourth industrial revolution, you must have heard about many things blockchain, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and so on. Yeah. We need to know, as on a national level plan, what we need exactly. Maybe we can pick up only 2 of those, and we can let all our plans work towards that, and we enhance our capabilities towards maybe 2 technologies of fourth industrial revolution. And then somehow we position ourselves in the world map that Oman is, for example, specialized in blockchain. And it has the programmers. It has some products towards that side. It has some consultancy on that side.
And this is the right time.
Exactly. But we need to focus because, like nowadays, many people just talk about fourth industrial revolution and what are the areas.
Okay. So where should we focus according to you? Should it be blockchain, artificial intelligence, or nanotechnology?
Well, I believe the way I see it, I see that we have a kind of a, thing in Oman, okay? Which is like we have good programmers. I see Oman is very good in programming. So why don't we focus on blockchain, for example? Okay, and nanotechnology, because we have some good achievements towards the health sector. Okay. And maybe the nanotechnology, maybe we can start it with the health sector, and that's how it can go. So we need a focus when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution. We can't do everything. Maybe, of course, we have to look after everything, but we have to know where we need to specialize our people and where we want to position our country towards that.
I think you have a very good point there. We'll take a short break and come back with this exciting discussion here on digital society development on the innovation roadmap.
Oman to be among the top 40 most innovative countries in the world by 2020 and among the top 20 most innovative countries by 2040. You are listening to the National Innovation Strategy.
So that's the ambition and the goal, the vision of National Innovation Strategy, and that is to be in the top 40 by 2020 and top 20 by 2040. What could be ITA's contribution towards achieving that target?
Pushing the e-transformation, first of all, and get it enhanced even better and better. Okay, so we just need to reach to our vision that there is no service going on in Oman with the manual way, whether if it is a government sector service or private sector service. Everything has to be transformed to digital. So that's one. Secondly, we need to focus on some, awarding programs. For example, like ITA is running a program called, or it's an awarding thing, which is his HM Award, His Majesty's Award for e-government. And somehow we have added some new categories also that focus on SMEs and some private sector. And this kind of a thing goes every 2 years, and we award those entities that have, developed their services towards the customers, towards serving the society, towards serving the position of the Sultanate itself. So we need to focus on those kind of things and such kind of awards, okay? And that's how we're going to just keep our position as a country on the world map somewhere in a higher position and higher ranking. Also, we need to cope with some specific programs that some of the entities are, working with. For example, the National Strategy for Innovation, which is being, handled by the TRC. Okay. So I think if we cooperate more as a government, entities together, and we integrate with each other, I think this will gonna be the recipe that will gonna help us.
Excellent. On the latest Global Innovation Index GII report, Oman is ranked 74 in terms of e-participation and 67 on the government online indicator. What are the initiatives to boost performance on these particular indicators?
Okay, see, mainly if I talk about this area, I see again the e-transformation and e-government would be the main factor to help us on that. This is one. Secondly, the easy process in general. Okay, the easy process and procedures, because somehow it's becoming a challenge, and especially when we try to invite the foreign direct investor. Okay, many of them, when they give us the feedback, still they feel like we can be better in terms of our processes and procedures, especially when starting up a business.
Okay,
and somehow if we want to enhance our position and towards the foreign direct investment, we need to just scan what we can offer to those parties if we want them to come. So for example, if we're trying to have Amazon coming to Oman and open up their, for example, warehouse, or let's say some factories like HP factory or so on. It's not just enough to just let them to just come like that and just give them something, but also the process and procedures, it matters. So this is also something that I see it important. And also focusing to some specific areas when towards specializing in IT. So as I mentioned a bit earlier, that if it comes to the fourth industrial revolution, we need to know what we want exactly, and we need to focus to some areas and not to everything. So I think these are the main elements that can help us toward that side.
But I think you mentioned something very interesting related to logistics.
Yeah.
And I think Oman being in a strategic position,
Exactly.
That could be an area to really look into and invest.
Exactly, and we have many kind of, facilities available in Oman that we can offer a package to some, related entities or big kind of investors that requires to come to Oman. Of course, in addition to our geographic location and so on. But as you said, logistics is a kind of a thing that we can still offer. We have so many, land areas in big sizes outside Muscat. Maybe these can be utilized somehow.
Where it all ties up together.
Exactly.
Very interesting. How would you rate the development of the IT industry in the country, though?
I can say that it's started, but there are a lot of things that can be done. It requires, cooperation of the government sectors with each others. We need to, as I said, get more integrated, okay? And we need to coordinate with each other as the government sectors in order to avoid some duplications that sometimes it occurs.
Okay, so as we move on, one question would be, is there a digital gap that is existing today?
Well, answering that question, I can say still there is a digital gap, but much less than what we can see within the last 10 years ago. But still the digital gap is there. As I said, and the reason behind that is that now the citizens became demanding the services, and instead of they just wait for you what you give them.
Okay.
Same as when you buy your mobile phone. Earlier you used to buy your mobile phone and the applications are all fixed there and you just use it and that's it. Yes. And you have no say to...
But now they have apps, they want more.
Exactly. So that's how the manner of, citizens changed and they're demanding services even more faster than it comes. Okay.
Which is healthy.
Exactly. But I think the smartphones and tablets, it made it even easier for them, okay, to understand the technology better. So there is a digital gap, but I know that there are some efforts are going on by the telecom sector and so on, especially with the internet coverage outside Muscat.
But is the connectivity a challenge?
Well, still, because, when it comes to the connectivity, we have some private sector entities working on that side, okay? And they have to see the feasibility wherever they just put their antennas and so on. So, still, and you can see it, whenever you travel, through your, by your car and you're going outside Muscat, in some, areas, still you don't receive the 4G service. And sometimes even the full internet is not connecting.
And the mountains are
exactly. So the challenge is there. We cannot, say it's not there. No,
and
it is there.
And it could be cheaper, couldn't it?
Exactly. Somehow. When we do some statistics says that our rates somehow even cheaper than some other countries. But I believe if we have a vision where we want to go in the fourth industrial revolution, we need to have a focus and we need to enhance our people and somehow maybe why not we should be better than them. So it could be cheaper even. But I know that there are some other efforts that happening by the Telecom Regulatory Authority and Oman Broadband Company towards closing these gaps, okay, towards the geographical areas. And there are plans that are going on. So I believe that things are going to be even much better. Yeah.
Great. And the digital world is forever changing. So I guess it's time for innovation in each individual's lifestyle.
Of course, yeah. And I believe that we should be fast. Because as I said, the fourth industrial revolution doesn't wait for you. If you just stay back, okay, you might, be very much back. Okay?
Really?
Exactly.
The IoT.
Exactly, the IoT and many other things that are coming by the fourth industrial revolution. Because that kind of a revolution is not waiting for anyone. And you need to catch up. And
so we got to learn and we got to move.
Exactly.
Hassan Fida Lawati, Director General of Digital Society Development at Information Technology Authority. It has been a tremendous experience to sit with you and ask all these questions. Thank you so much for your time and expertise.
Thank you very much.
Innovation Strategy from the Research Council and Radio Sultanate of Oman has brought to you this session of Innovation Roadmap. I'm Lakshmi with Ahmed Al-Arami. Thank you for joining us.
National Innovation Strateg. The Nation Station Oman FM with the cooperation of the Research Council presents Innovation Roadmap, an introduction to National Innovation Strategy from the Research Council.